Okay. It's weird because I don't see it. So let's go ahead. Either way, I'm recording it on my phone. So, I mean, on my computer. So let's get right on into it. My name is Sherneice Gatewood-Alli. I am the CEO and founder of We Are Phenomenal Women. We are on our ninth video. So every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, from 7 to 8, we have special guests from everywhere. Listen, right now last week we had someone, no, 2 weeks ago we had somebody from North Carolina. Now we have another young lady from North Carolina. So um living behind the mask purple round table is actually getting out, and I appreciate it because a lot of us at home, a lot of us are dealing with domestic violence, the isolation, and I'm just hoping and praying that these stories that you hear every Tuesday will help you understand that, one, recognize that you are in a domestic violence relationship, because sometimes we don't want to recognize it. Two, hear and understand that you can be a survivor as well. And the third thing, you can get out. You can get out, my sister, my brother, because as I go into this journey, I start realizing that it's not just women who go through domestic violence, it's also men. Not to mention anyone who have children in the household. Please understand, you are damaging the children as well. So right now, we would like to say thank you to our special guest, and I'm gonna let her listen. I'm gonna let her tell you who she is. I would like to say thank you, Queen, for coming on to our ninth Purple Round Table. Please introduce yourself.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. It was my
Yes.
pleasure to share with you, and I'm standing behind your movement. What an awesome thing to know that there's someone out there who understands the need. When you see people on a global or national level, um, but it's good to lock arms with someone such as yourself. So thank you for what you're doing over at Women Are Phenomenal. We are
We
phenomenal
are
women, that
phenomenal.
is.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
we
We sure
are.
is.
Yes, so I speak that over everyone listening, that they would come into agreement with those words. Men and women most often are victims and perpetrators if they've ever been behind any type of abuse. But my name is Seret Pierre out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm gonna just, talk to you today from the heart. I've done a lot of different work in the area of abuse and recovery support. And so I hope that, and I pray that something that I say and I deposit and leave with you, it will minister to your spirit, and it will cause you to leap, cause your spirit to leap, and cause you, to be able to know specifically if you're being abused, because sometimes we don't always know the signs. I would love to go over that. And maybe knowing that Mrs. Gatewood-Alli and we got out, right? So that means that there's hope for you. It means that not only do you have worth and do you not, matter, because you do, but there are different things that can help you. And so, as I said, I am out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a bonus mom. I'm a wife. I do a lot of things in ministry. I'm known as the Freedom Igniter, and I really bring people to a place of wholeness and just, through different healing of God teachings. And so I just want to just go over some things with you as I kind of weave in my story, if that's okay.
That's fine.
But I'm a 48-year-old woman who's now remarried as of 3 years, as of last week. It's been, and so
Congratulations.
don't think that there's not more. It's always more. You live your destiny out, And I want to encourage you that you can beat this, meaning you can get past this place. And so if you are like me, who has dealt with any type of abuse, whether it's emotional, mental abuse, okay, even abandonment, emotional abandonment, it is an area of abuse that we need to make sure you're aware of, just as narcissistic abuse is. So there's so many types. You know, we have the psychological abuse, so many different things, financial and spiritual abuse. And I could go into that. I tell you, spiritual abuse is something that people don't really like to talk about or haven't identified. So I thank you. We are phenomenal women and Mrs. Gatewood-Alli, because that's something that people don't understand is a part of abuse. And so we are dedicated, particularly during this pandemic. We know the stats are much higher because families are together for longer periods of time, because they're not allowed to go out and the schools are closing. Many parents are working from home. So we're sensitive to the fact that there's children, even in this hour, that are being abused, okay? And we are not here at all to judge or, any shame. This is a shame-free, judgment-free zone. We are operating out of the love of God, and we understand how you can get here. A lot of people don't even understand, even as a child, certain things that may happen, where the perpetrator maybe at a young age can kind of identify who they think that they can maybe mastermind. There are different things that they look at. So we want to make sure that we are aware as parents, as teachers, as clergy. We should be able to see if a child may be kind of withdrawn, or a child is grossly shy, very, very bashful. We want to be able to ask the right questions. We want to be able to discern if that child may be in a environment that just isn't safe. And so we know that now with the food, shortages and things of that nature, there are so many things that we have to be aware of, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so I just want everybody, for a few minutes to even begin to look at their neighbors, maybe the people that you're around, maybe you're not aware of it, but they need you to be able to see them. They need you to be able to help them. Just sometimes being able to encourage them that there are different ways that they can get out, can go a long way, because sometimes when you're in the grips of abuse, you're just torn down. You really don't understand your worth. You don't understand just anything other than brokenness. And so my story kind of is really, really different in a way, because my parents were on it. They would ask the right questions as I was growing up. I thank God for my father. He did as the word of God told him in regards to, not causing me to be embittered or have resent in my heart, because he affirmed me and validated me. However, because we have free will, and because I kind of veered off of that particular training, having been raised by, ordained ministers, having been raised by mental health professionals, one thing I realized as I was getting older, going, to college, experiencing different things, and not only did I stray away, like many of us do, but I kind of wasn't prepared for different things that even needed to go over my social skills and my life skills and the personal skills that my parents taught me. And so I ended up getting involved with someone who I thought loved me, but later did I see that he didn't even know how to love himself. Now that does not, his brokenness, his trauma does not justify his abuse, but it has a very big role to play in it. And so, as I said earlier, victims and perpetrators are victims too. And so whether they're men or women, we need to just be mindful of how to kind of identify certain signs, certain behaviors. And I'm not saying that you need to, read psychology books and study different mental health patterns or anything like that. But what I want you to know is that there are things that once you see them, you'll realize they were there the whole time. There were signs, as we say, red flags. And so I began dating this gentleman, and quickly did I realize not only did he have anger issues, but he really, really could snap, at any time. And so I began a love affair, a relationship that it lasted in total 5 years. And in that 5 years, everything that I thought I would have been able to prepare for this relationship, I quickly saw that I was ill prepared, that I missed a lot of signs. And even the ones that I was aware of, I did like most people, and I ignored them. And so every, type of abuse, I did not really suffer financial abuse, but many of you, whether you know it or not, if you have to have permission to get the groceries, or, to use the debit credit card, or maybe you don't have one of your own, it has to be given to you and it's kept away from you, and only when you're needed to go run errands for that particular domestic partner or for the household, then they give you cash, and you don't have your own way of saving money, and being able to do things for yourself to make you feel good, and things that do line up with self-care, or just being able, to spend money, on the subway, or, being able to have your own money for the train or gas in your own vehicle without going through another person. That very well can be or is financial abuse. Um, I've learned that you never want to be in a situation where you don't know anything about the finances, just as it relates to responsibility in the event of someone's passing. Even if you're not in an abuse situation, you want to know where everything is, and how to get to those things. And so that's a sign when you don't have any access to the money, right? And so all other types of abuse, including sexual abuse, I suffered at the hand of that partner. So when you look at abuse, as we talked about, not just spiritual, but emotional and mental and psychological, and so many types, physical, because sometimes they may not hit you, but the way that you're left feeling about yourself and your self-worth. And it was so funny. I was a very confident person. Um, my parents, as I said, they really validated me, and they affirmed me all of my life. But as you can see, there's still some things that can come in and combat all those things. There are things and people who can still play on those areas where you might have, some deficiencies, if you will. And so it's not your fault, it never is. But do know that whatever you go through in life, that not only does God care for you, but he always, the scriptures tells us he provides a way of escape. And so I know I left that partner at that time literally 11 times in 5 years. And so anytime you have an escape plan, right, you have to really be wise. Okay. You have to be proactive. So after you are identifying the types of abuse that you know that you are experiencing or now know as I'm sharing. When I look at things like, he would throw things at me. Now I was clearly physically abused as well, as far as, putting his hands on me and dragging me, across the floor by, my ankles, or, things of that nature, slapping and things like that. But things to try to, it's almost as if it's not just degrading, it's not just things of inconvenience. For example, he would throw drinks at my hair. And you know how women, not just African American women, but you know how we are about our hair, right?
Mm,
It's our glory. We spend money to do different things to it and get it the way we want it. And it was almost as if to say, now what? You know, your hair is messed up. What are you gonna do now? And so it was one of those things. It was always something that I had that required me washing it right then. It was always, a drink, alcohol, or a flavored drink, punch, just undermining behaviors that he would do to try to just break my spirit, and try to just unnerve me to no end. And so there are things that, just will chip away at you if you're not building yourself up, or you haven't been built up
right,
as a child. Those are things that we now know, that the brokenness, the mendingness, that we can get not only through scripture, but different mindset changes, personal development, support groups, things like that, that tell you who you are. Because sometimes you may forget who you are because you're under the grips of a person who, often is narcissistic to the point that they know how to brainwash you.
mm,
They are master manipulators. Sometimes mental have severe mental health issues, or personality disorders. The list goes on and on. But they know how to make themselves look like they are in a good light always, working with people. And even when I was in this situation, the people around them, if they haven't seen it, like their co-workers and those types of, even the people in organizations that they may, be in with, or, coach student, or coach player types of scenarios, they almost always would have never guessed that this
right,
person was abusive, because they have learned, sometimes out of their own abandonment and rejection, they have learned to mask, they have learned to come across as the good guy. They know how to really make themselves look like they're in a good light, because they want to always make everybody else look
right,
wrong. And
exactly,
because that's the game, that's the
right,
play.
right,
You're many times you're not the only one that they've abused, and
right,
so they want to be able to always make you look like you're the crazy one. Make
right.
rebuttal what you may say
Mhm,
about them, even if someone else you meet warns you or has gone through the same thing.
mhm.
And so it's just important that we know that God loves us. God always wants us to be very, very just plan out how we're going to leave. There are different things that you can do. There are different people
So,
who
so
are
I have a
trained.
question. So did you when you say narcissist, you did go through that. He was a narcissistic person. He was the type of person that showed that he was a good person, but in home at home he was somebody else that want to put
Mhm.
you down, disrespect you, So and then you mentioned the spiritual part because once again, when I started a purple roundtable, I didn't want us to just speak on, and I'm saying anybody who is a guest, I don't want them to just speak on the physical part because it's all these other elements that people don't want to say they are going through. So yes, it's so strange how your parents cannot hit you because the whole government, ACS, or whatever, but it's okay. That is okay in their head, whoever does, because including myself, is like this person loved me. And some people feel like if he don't hit me or if she don't disrespect me, this relationship, this person don't love me. No, it's not true. You know, that's an abusive relationship, and they pick that up from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you a question. So when I was going through domestic violence, the person helped get who got me out of it. I want to becoming verbally abusive to him. Were you abusive to your next partner? Or some people will abuse drugs, some people will abuse their body. Like, because at the end of the day, that's something else to talk about due to the fact that some people don't understand this is what they're going through because this is what they went through for whatever amount of years they was what they made. So I want to ask you, did you go through that as well?
Right.
Your own self.
I was fortunate. Two things: the confidence that was built up as a child in me. It caused me to be able to leave safely and dig from that place that was always there where I could build myself up. And I did not him. So I just started helping a lot of other people, volunteering. I quickly knew that I couldn't sit in it. I had to, it almost came across like I was in denial. Um, because of how well I handled it in the beginning and a few years thereafter. But I was fortunate. And if you have the right group and, you're able to forgive yourself, I worked on that very quickly. And if you can forgive the person, the quicker you can forgive the person, the more peace you have, the quicker you can snap back, the quicker you can just go on. Now, that does not say you don't need things like order of protection. I had that. That does not say that you don't need certain things in place, right? Because you have to be wise, and especially if you have children. But I was fortunate. I made people aware very quickly after I was in that situation. So people knew. And then there were things that were done in public, you know what I mean? Where he would fight me in public, or he was detained by a police officer because he would not let me go. We were at a party, a party, and we were separated. I told you I left him literally 11 times, and we were separated. We happened to be at the same place, and he held me up in a corner for the 4 hours of the party, trying to beg me to come back home. And I was listening, but you could tell that I was in distress. You could tell that I was ready to get out that corner and that I didn't want to be there. So all of the security, people were going to get the security, and the promoters of the party were coming to check on me and all of that. And at the end of the party, he knew when those lights came on and he wasn't going home with me. He knew right then that he didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? It was over for him at that point because he didn't have access to me and didn't know if he would at all again. So he took his fist, and there was a picture, a glass frame, matted frame picture over my head, and he punched the picture. And so glass just fell all over me, all, over the floor. My girlfriend who I was with, you know, it was just glass everywhere. And then the cops came and had to wrestle him to the floor because, he didn't want to be detained, and for them to handcuff him. And so if they hadn't heard from the rumors, and I was pretty upfront because I was like, I don't know how I got here, but I don't think I'm gonna be here long, meaning I was upfront with the fact that I was with someone who was abusive. And of course, it's always, if we don't ask the right people the right questions, sometimes we don't know in the beginning when we're dating We don't know a person's past. We don't know, what other people may have suffered. And of course, people do change. But I think it's always wise to ask people, what do you know about this person? Because it was after the fact when I was so out front about it, it was then that people that, oh yeah, he used to fight so and so on campus, he beat so and so. I mean, just a list. He did this, he beat this girl, this girl. And it's like, wow, you know, it's those things like that that help me to get over it and get the help that I needed once I left.
Okay.
Because it helped me to be able to say, yes, I attribute it to it. And I'm not saying that any of us we are never the person who is the person's fault. We're never in fault. But I know that I ignored some signs. You know what I mean? So I had to take personally responsibility for me not just falling back like, wait a minute, I don't need to be with this person. I ignored it. This person says they love me. This person does these things. You know what I mean? So to your question, I was able to move on, but I did the healing work, which,
Ah,
as you know, you got to do the work, and
yeah,
it never ends. You
right.
have to keep doing the maintenance from the work that you've done.
It's
You
true.
know, you have to. So
That's
uh,
that.
uh,
You
it's
know, with me, I went to therapy. I I'm going to say I was 18, 19, 20 when all this happened, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm now 47 and I'm actually now really getting it. Really, really getting it.
yeah,
Really understanding because of this work right here that I am doing, and then going to church and understand that I don't want to hurt. I mean, the guy who helped me get out of that, he did not deserve my verbal abuse. I apologize in so many different ways and letters. He would not take my call, anything, whatever. But I had to, like you said, forgive yourself. And I wasn't forgiving myself. I was too busy looking for somebody to forgive me. But then once I start understanding where my demons came from and understanding it, you cannot understand. In order for you to understood, you have to understand, right? So when I understood
right.
my
Hmm.
hurt and my pain and how I put it out on somebody else, now I'm like, oh, whew, okay. And right now today, the gentleman that helped me get out, he got married to someone, he moved on, and I'm happy for him. But for years, I wasn't happy because I'm like, I let somebody good get out of the hands, with my manners. And
Right.
I was with him about almost 10 years. The guy who helped me get out. Now,
Wow.
one before that was 7 years, which is my daughter's father. So it took
Hmm.
me a while, and now I'm really, really understanding, and I appreciate it going into therapy or the training or the support groups or the different conversations I'm having with different women all around the world. I even have different conversations with men. They help me understand.
Hmm.
Like sometimes, our hurt come from home.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people hurt come from home. So with that, now it's like let's come together, as a whole. Let's
Hmm.
stop saying this female's crazy. Oh, this no, it's just damage things. Things have happened and it damaged the individual. Some people have
Yeah.
mental health disorders, whatever the case might be. But let's come together and let's work this out. So
Hmm.
I do want to say really quickly when you mention getting out, we want to let people understand too, before you leave, anyone decide to go, please make sure you have your ID card, your driving license if you're driving. Make sure you have your birth certificate, social security card, your copy of your lease if you have one, your mortgage, your deed, your passport, your green card, your immigration card, immigration documentations, or a proof you are you are legal, because that's another thing. A lot of people who are not legal, their partner know they're not, and say, I'm gonna call ICE or whoever it is that do the damage control, and that individual will be too scared to leave. You have children, make sure you take their school records, make sure you take your diploma, your degree, your certificates, your car registration. If you on public assistance, make sure you take your public assistance card. Make sure you have your credit card, your debit card, your medical records for you, your children. So any important numbers, make sure you have all of that. And also make sure your phone is not being tapped or tracked, and make sure your car is not tracked also. So I have heard people's stories where somebody put a tracking device in the back of their car, they didn't even know. And then all of a sudden, this person popped up to where they was at. So make sure your car is track free. Your phone is track free. Even if you got to cut it off for, a little while, whatever the case may be, or take the battery out, put a new battery, whatever it takes for you to get from point A to point B safely. So also, I want you to, when you say order protection, let's talk about that, because I remember when I got not order protection, when I called the cops, he said to the cops, some men actually want you to put a mark on them. So that way, when you call the cops, this is the setup. When you call the cops, they could turn around and tell the cops, look what she did to me. So now you look like the aggressive one. And what happened, that's one of the things that happened with me. When I called the cops came, they looked at his arm and was like, oh, wow, you did that. Well, if we take him in, we got to take you in. And then your daughter, your child was going to go to the system. I dropped it. I was like, no, I don't want her going in the system.
Yeah.
So back in the day, they used to tell the person to leave, walk out the house, walk around the block, breathe. But now they're actually arresting the person. Now they're actually taking you downtown or whatever bookings it is, wherever state you're from. They're going to take you in and run your information to see if you are out for a warrant or whatever the case might be. So a lot of times us females will feel sad, feel alone, and don't even pursue with the the mate being arrested. Meanwhile, if he's not doing that to you, he's doing that to other people. Vice versa. If she is doing that to you, she have done it to other people. So what do we do at this point? And I'm asking you, what do you do? Like, you have order protection. Do you feel safe with that order protection? Did he stalk you? Because that's another form of domestic violence as well. Do he stalk you at one point?
No, I didn't have to go through that, but what I do know is you'll know when you're ready. When you are tired of being sick and tired, when there will be something in you that will raise up. And as long as you have done the things that we named, you can already start some of these things so that when you are confident enough, all those papers are already together. But it's funny because back in the late 90s, early 2000s here in North Carolina, the very thing that you said had just started when they would come, and if you police would press charges. They would assess who had looked like they had the most, scars and bruises and all that whelps and any, black eyes or whatever on them. And they would take that person in who looked like that they, like you said, were the aggressor. and you could not change your mind,
Mm.
right? Because it would be against, they would take the charges out, the police department,
Oh,
because so many people were dropping charges.
right.
So I remember, I mean, it was new, and my partner mate at that time was so upset because he blamed it on me, of
Mm-hmm.
course, for calling, but because I could not, you know, drop the charges, as if I had anything to do with the law. Never any responsibility of his own did he take, but it at that time was a required anger management program
Mm.
that was like 6 months, 9 months, I don't remember, but it never was taking, the responsibility and accountability for what he did. But that was learned behavior. I mean, that he came obviously out of a house where there was abuse, where he saw abuse, where there people weren't taking accountability for being abusers. And so I understood that, or I understand it more now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things where it's like, it's sad. You have to just really trust God, because you really can't trust, as we know, on a national, international, you can't trust the system. But you have to get to a point where anything is better than where I am right now. You know what I'm saying? If I have to run with everything I have barefooted on some rocks, long as I can get out of here, you know what I'm saying? That's where you'll get to a point when you've been torn down so much
Mm-hmm.
emotionally and physically or mentally, whatever you may be going through, then there's going to be a point where you're going to say, you know what?
Enough.
Enough is enough. Anything is better than this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't deserve this. Even though you've been told you deserve it and you're nothing and you can't do this right and you can't do that right and you'll never amount to anything. All they're repeating is what they've heard, what they were told as
Exactly.
children, you
Yeah.
know, what what bankrupt them emotionally, and they really are just crying out from that place of dysfunction, from
Mm-hmm.
that place of abandonment. And so when you get to that point when stuff starts to go over your head, like just literally, you like it doesn't sting anymore. You'll get to that point where you're looking at that person like, you know what?
Mm.
You're a joke. You'll get to that point like,
Right.
you
Right.
are really a
Right.
joke. You
Right.
know, now it can take a while because you have to move past fear. You have to move past, because being scared about retaliation, and going to sleep with one eye open. I mean, you'll get to a point where you like, you know what?
Mm.
You're sad. You're
Mm-hmm.
sad. And when you get to the point where your heart goes out to that person, to a point where it doesn't affect how you see yourself, and it doesn't affect how your own ability to leave for your own safety, it's time to leave. When you can look back at them and you have a pity for them,
Mm-hmm.
not the one that justifies everything that they do and say they need you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't leave. He needs me.
Not
He don't like it
right.
when I provoke him. He tells me that I make him do it. Once you start repeating those lies in your head, and you like, wait a minute, this is
Mm-hmm.
this is warped thinking. This is a perverted mindset. This doesn't make any sense. And you start looking at that person like, you really can't help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not I'm here to help him. Like nobody can love. I can love him through this. Not that. But when you can look and say, this is not me, buddy. This is you.
That's right. That's right.
This
And
has nothing to do with me.
I think that's what we get caught up at, because we as women, we want to nurture everybody. We want to be able to say that this person changed because of me. And I understand that. A lot of people say, pray, pray on it. I understand all that, but when it gets to the point that you can't even, you start to look, you start to feel, you cannot, when you so in the mix of the dumps, sometimes you can't pray because
Right.
you're so emotionally bounded. You are in a prison
Yeah.
of your own pain until somebody take your hand and say, you know, because that's what happened. They took my hand, and because a couple of times I've been in the church and I just sat there and I just sitting there stiff like this, you know.
Right.
Then somebody took my hand and they said, "Come on to the altar, let's." And I was like, "Woo!" Listen. I cried, and to the point that I got up there on the prayer line, and it helped remove.
Yeah.
But if you're isolated, like right now, we don't even want to touch nobody. We don't want to be
Right.
around people. Everybody's at home doing Zooms or church. You don't have it in you because nobody not there to give you that. But we're giving you that. We are the voices. We are the voice because we got out of it. We've been through it. Now we just want to help other people. You know, I have a book. My sister and I wrote our own journal book, and it's called I Am Phenomenal, right? So this is my copy. This is a big one, but everybody else want to have a smaller one. And this was one of my quotes. My quote said, "Learned behaviors can be unlearned as long as you recognize that behavior you was taught isn't your fault. It's not your fault.
Right.
That behavior you learned is not your fault. Somebody taught you something because they was taught themselves. And now they have no choice but to bring it down to the children. But don't force yourself and say, I should know better. Sometimes we don't know better. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't know right from wrong only because whatever you was taught in the house, you feel that that's right, and it's not. But your emotion, your insides would tell you something ain't right. And now you fighting with it. You fighting with your spirit.
Exactly.
You having a spiritual warfare, as they say, because you're fighting against the natural versus the unnatural. You know, so with that, I mean, I have learned so much and I understand it now. You know, before I didn't understand it, and I recognize it because I recognize a lot of my pain and hurt came from my mother, you know, and my husband always say, talk about it, talk about it. And I don't want to talk about it, you know, and the reason why I don't want to talk about it is because my mom, I'm still scared of her in a way. Gotta respect mom, you know, but at the end of the day, it could damage you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can. So I also want people to understand too, because it's COVID, I understand that some people feel like they don't want to go into shelters. I had a couple of months back, I had one of my friends who is the director of a shelter. He is still taking people in. So if anyone who feel like I'm not going to leave because of the whole COVID situation, they're not going to take me, they're not going to prevent me from getting COVID, they have protection measures. They have the gloves, they have the hand sanitizer, they have the mask, they give you masks, you know, and you still somewhat, I'm not even gonna lie, somewhat social distancing, you know, but at the end of the day, I would rather get out of the situation versus staying there and I'm living day by day. Am I going to live today or die tomorrow? Because nowadays, a lot of the people are getting killed. They get killed. You know, and it's really, really sad because why? A lot of people emotional, they not there.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's heightened because of the pandemic. The anxiety is out of the roof, right? The depression is out of the roof. So they are literally, you know, walking a tight rope if you are with the person who is your abuser. Because right now, all the cares of the world, unlike anything we've seen 100 years, if you don't know how to deal with those things and cast your cares, everything is topsy-turvy. So the stress level,
yeah,
they're not having that outlet.
Yeah.
So if they're not getting help, haven't gotten help before the pandemic, then can you imagine increasingly, you know, since the pandemic started, how much, of a disarray these homes behind closed doors are in? It is incumbent upon us to really look at our neighbors, in their eyes. If we have to, go door to door, we have to make sure that people are safe.
That's right.
We have to.
That's true.
We have to make sure.
I had a neighbor, I heard her and her husband, they argue, whatever. But this time it was kind of weird. So I picked up the phone and I said, "Hey, are you all right? Because this is my line
Right.
of work. Are you all right?" She said, "I'm fine, Sherneice." I'm like, "Are you sure?" you know?
Right.
And she said,
Right.
"Okay." And I'm like, and I heard in her voice, she sound okay. Sometimes, because even I'm thinking about starting up keywords, purple,
Oh yeah.
something like pizza, order me pizza,
Right.
things will help because if I have you and I live next door, and I say, "Listen, he hits me, but I'm scared. I don't want to leave right now. However, if I ever call you and I say, order me a piece of pie,
Right.
you know what that means."
Right.
So with that, that's another way of having your neighbors or your family members also helping out in the situation without you picking up the phone and you calling 911 due to the fact that he might slap your phone out of your hand,
Yeah.
break it, or whatever the case might be. So we have to get creative with our safety plan. These are safety plans. How can we
That's right.
so I want to ask you how now you're married. Now you're
I
married.
am. Yes.
So how many years did you go through the situation, and then how many years later did you get married?
There is hope. I want everyone to know not only is there healing available to you, there's hope. So it was 19 years
Wow.
before I remarried. And, I did a lot of preparation, a lot of work. I mean, a whole lot of work, not just healing. Like we said, that continues. You got to do the work. You got to look at yourself. You have to, just really, really go through a journey of healing.
Mm-hmm.
But I also did a lot of preparation for marriage work.
Mm.
Before I knew who my spouse would be, I prayed for my spouse. I
Mm-hmm.
prayed for me. I spoke blessings and spoke life over my spouse. I mean, there's so many things as you are dealing with of course, we were never at fault. It was never anything that we did or didn't do that caused us to be abused. But all of us should want to bring our best to the table. So, 18 years gave me more than enough time to
Right.
look at me, look at the type of wife, instead of thinking I could never remarry, what type of wife do I want to be? What do I want to bring to my next husband? So that kept me really, really busy, instead of thinking that I was not desirable or I didn't deserve to be married again. That's the enemy. The enemy will tell you lies. That's his job. So be encouraged, beloved, because there is someone that God wants just for you that he handpicked, and nobody or nothing can snuff that out of your destiny,
Plan.
even your
Right.
past.
That's
Even being a person who has been abused in their past. So that lie that says nobody ever will love you like I do, nobody ever wants you, that was to try to get you to stay. So
right.
once you
Exactly.
get to a place where you can leave safely, and you do that work on yourself again and that forgiveness work, you'll see you
Mhm.
are worthy of a good man or a good woman
That's right.
coming into your life. So, definitely never believe that there's not more. There's always more after this, and greater, than this that God will give us. So just stay encouraged, because like she said, I did. I've been remarried 3 years, and it's more than I could ever think or ask for, and I'm grateful for it. But
Into
don't
that.
believe that you can't get married, or if you weren't married, to your abuser, don't think that marriage won't come in your life if that's your heart's desire. And I think that many can tell of this testimony, and you can be a part of one of the ones who has this same testimony. So just be encouraged.
That's
Be
right. I
encouraged.
like that because after a while I said, I don't want to be with nobody, and let me see. It's been my daughter now is 25. So
Wow.
yeah, and I just getting married, my first one. So and he came from upstate. I we marched in the African American parade that they do every year here in September, and I had the post and people was reposting, and he called me. He said, "Hey, I would like to bring my daughter, let her share that experience to be in a parade." And then, we're doing it for domestic violence. And he came. He didn't come with his daughter, for whatever reason, but he came, and he was like standoffish, and I'm like, "Hey, how you?
Right.
How you doing? You like this? And where you came from?" And all this, not knowing that we would be husband and wife today. I was not even on that. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Right.
But all my other friends, all my male friends, was like, that dude looked like a good guy for her. And it remind you, I didn't even know anything what was going on. I was in my zone. I was on my
Right.
microphone, and him and I spoke again. And he's a very, very intelligent man. I love smart people.
Right. Right. Right.
We had
Yeah.
great conversations, and we was dating. And then he was married. He said that he would never marry again. And then, when he told his mom, I'm going to marry her, she's like, "Are you sure?" You said you wasn't going to marry nobody.
Right.
And he said that this one, he is different. She's different. And next thing he proposed, and a year later we want to get married. So I
Awesome.
would say, a lot of people said to me, they said, "Sherneice, you gave us hope."
Amen.
I was like, "Really?" I did. They was like, "Yeah, because we went to school with you, college. We never even saw that, you always say
Right.
you're not gonna get married." And look, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of my friends said you gave me hope. So at the end of the day, there is someone for everybody,
That's right.
but you must know what you want.
Yeah.
You must know. It took me forever years myself.
Mm-hmm.
Forever years. I think I got married. My daughter's 20 at the age of 22, 23. I'm just getting married. And the reason for that, I had a lot of healing to do for
Mm-hmm.
myself. Some people feel like, well, you get out of one, you got to get underneath another one. No, you don't. Let your pillow be your boo boo. let,
Right.
let your pillow be your boo boo for a little while, because you only thing you're doing is bring your past into your future.
Yeah.
And you want your future to be right and exact. You're going to bring in another abuse of something.
Yeah.
Not to mention, if you have children, all of that just going to come like the whole suitcase of bad, dirty clothes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So with that, congratulations to you for the 3 years that you
And
did
you
your husband.
too. You
Yes, yes.
too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
3
you.
years. I want to say we found our strength.
Yeah.
We found our voice. And now we want to find you, whoever that's listening, and say, you can too
That's right.
be a survivor.
Mhm.
So I want you to just leave behind a message. And please let us know about your businesses that you have.
Okay. I will. I will.
Thank you.
You know, you're so right. You can live on. You can thrive. One of the things that I did outside of doing all the journey work of healing, I got back into acting, right?
Mm.
Now, you know, that meant I had to get over rejection. I had to get over my pain from being abused and even forgive, as I said, myself for being with someone and going back to that person 10, 11 times, right? But what did that say about me? It said that there's some areas of rejection that I didn't know were there or they came with that relationship. And so because I was able to get over that, I was able to go back to what my one of my first loves as a child. I was a child actor and I went to LA. Um, I, at the time, was doing a lot of work in the area of sex trafficking and sexual and domestic abuse. And because it's LA and the population was great there, along with homelessness, I was able to do a lot of relief support work. I was able to minister to people who were in the underground sex network and, you know, domestic abuse situations. So I had to keep going, and now there are going to be times when, you know, you're overwhelmed with pain and the memory and rehearsing all the things. But if you just keep moving, if you forgive over and over and just keep going forward, you will be strengthened. And so I now am able to travel as a speaker and talk to people about the things that I mentioned tonight, you know, about surviving divorce, surviving, you know, abuse, right? I'm able to talk about how to get started in the entertainment industry. I'm able to talk about how to go from, you know, brokenness to mendedness, because I went through it. I had to go through it, you know, because people don't want to know how much you know, they want to know how much you care. And
Mm.
so, what good would I have been just telling them my childhood stories, you know, of having being validated and, you know, coming from a place where I was able to share my emotions with my parents and my brother in a safe place. I had to go through things that the masses have gone through or will go through so that I would be able to be a voice, that I would be able to tell you, you can make it. You know, you can live through this and you can still have whatever you want, whatever you put your hands to, whatever your desires or your dreams are. So, you know, I was able to be on all different types of sets and on all different types of shows. The only reason that I took a sabbatical from the entertainment industry, and right now I'm working on launching a course to teach it, is because of getting married. You know, I wanted to be at home, you know, and at least for maybe 5 years before I go and start, you know, doing commercials and things that don't cause me to be on set for, you know, months at that
Right.
time and
Mm.
things of that nature. But if I did not take the time to deal with me, right,
Mhm.
all those holes that still were there from childhood, that caused me to ignore the red flags of my ex lover,
Mhm.
right? If I didn't build on that, those 18, 19 years, who knows if I would have had what it takes, you know, to be able to get into acting. And even people who want to climb the corporate ladder or start a nonprofit, you have to have a certain level of confidence. And even if you don't have it yet, you keep doing the work until you gain it.
That's
You
right.
may not start out with it, but you do what, you know, brings you joy and passion and things you'll do for free because you love doing it so much, right? And so that's where you find your purpose. You know, that's why you had to go through these things, because God is going to raise you up so that you can help so many people. The world awaits us to share our story. It can literally be a matter of life or death. These recordings can save lives, what ones in which they thought they were just scrolling
Mhm.
and they heard one of these particular round sessions and they were encouraged not to end their lives. They were encouraged to leave their abuser. They were encouraged to look for the documents that we suggested, and God knows, you know, Sherneice did a great job at telling you what to gather and, you know, just put it in one place until you have that boldness that the Lord will give you to lead, but at least start gathering it.
That's
You
right.
know, think enough of your desires and your dreams to at least say, let me start gathering it. You may not think you have right now what it takes to get out, but you will. So have that stuff. Just start looking for it. Because sometimes it could be in different places
Right.
throughout the house. So now that we have left you with all these gems and these nuggets, take it.
Mhm.
Share it with others who are going through these things. We are here to serve. We did not go through this in vain or by naught. We were chosen, but we are grateful that we survived, because so many people don't. They don't live through this.
It's
And
true.
so we want to be a part of saving more people's lives. And so you can check me out over at seretpierre.com. You'll see there the different things that I do. I mentioned the majority of them as far as acting, but I do consultations within the area of healing, and you'll see the training and certificates and all the education I've gotten. I won't go into that, now, but we are here for you.
That's
We want you to make it, and we believe that if many other people come and lock arms and join us and share their survival story, that it will really change the lives of others. And so I'm glad to be on
right.
this platform. Thank you for
Oh,
sharing it
thank
with me
you.
on
Yes.
tonight. Yes,
I would
thank
love,
you.
love, 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 love to have you back on again, and we could just, continue to do the work that we need to be, to do. My goal is funny because I'm listening to you, and I said, you know what we have gone through, we got out, so now is our time to teach, right? So my goal was to become a mentor for the youth,
Hmm.
and speak to them about bullying, which I was doing that for a while, but then I'm telling you no lie, I went to bed and I woke up and the Lord gave me my whole vision. He gave me the whole vision. And I listened to Maya Angelou. I don't know, for some reason, that particular day, I listened to and this phenomenal woman. And I'm like, wait, hold up. I am a phenomenal woman. And then I
That's
started
right.
playing around with it and I said, we are phenomenal women. And then I just 501c3, my paperwork, da da da, and came out with the whole 501c3, We Are Phenomenal Women preventive program. So, I still have more work to do. My husband and I, we tag team. He does my grant writing and I do the other part. And, so we are a couple that everybody out here in Harlem say we the power couple. We even started
Amen.
our LLC with Donald Trump's money.
Right, 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 right,
We
right,
didn't buy no TV. We already got that. We just
right.
went on and put, purchase our new business on
Amen.
LLC. So with that, I want to
Awesome.
say peace to everybody. And once again, if anybody's going through domestic violence right now, here's a hotline: 1-800
Yes.
799 7233. That is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. So once again, if anyone else would like to share and come on and speak your truth and tell us how you doing, as Wendy Williams say, how you
Right,
doing,
right.
please go on. We Are Phenomenal Women. And listen, we're gonna have this queen come back again and
Yay.
shine a light on us again. I really appreciate it. I love your spirit. I'm gonna email you as soon as we get off this.
Okay, yeah, I look
I appreciate
forward.
it.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so
again
much.
this opportunity. Thank you. We love you all that will hear this, both now and years to come. We are here for you, and we will do whatever we need to help you get through this.
That's right. That's right. Peace, everyone, and I'll talk to you real soon.
Okay, God bless
All
you.
right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.